Hello, beautiful soul. My name is Angie Viets, and I'm a clinical psychotherapist specializing in eating disorder treatment, and I'm also recovered. I've often heard that eating disorders are the ultimate act of self-harm. And when I think about that, I recognize in my clinical practice that many of my clients don't really understand or recognize how harming an eating disorder is to their soul. So one of the ways we counter that is by practicing self-care. I often call it soul care. I think that we live in a world where we're very, very busy and we're consumed with achieving and, fast forwarding on to the next thing. We're very often not in the present moment. And so when I think about soul care or self-care, I think about really slowing down and grounding yourself in the present moment. So some of the things that I think about are getting really intentional, being gentle, and being loving. Those are sort of the criteria I think of when I think of soul care. Intentional, loving, and gentle. And so I wanted to share with you today a couple things that I do to really slow myself down and to get in a space of soul care. When this trend started happening with adult coloring books, I sort of thought it was silly, even though I loved coloring as a child. But I thought, I'm going to try it out because many of my clients were saying how much they loved it. So I got this coloring book maybe a year or two ago, and it's called The Secret Garden. And I think I found it at Michael's. They have them everywhere. Target has them. And I just love the title of that, Secret Garden. It felt like a place where I could sort of escape and get cozy. And I bought some fun colored pencils, and I picked out a page, and the first page that I found, interestingly enough, had all the things that I loved from the time I was little. There were little kittens in it, a tree house, bird cages, and I really just found this page and fell in love with it and started coloring it. And it was so interesting, the feeling that I experienced while I was coloring. I just felt so settled and content and completely at home. It really felt like a flow activity where I could just settle in. And even taking 10-15 minutes to do this was just a sweet little subtle act of self-care. I really had to give myself permission to do it though, because of course, much like you guys, the to-do list is always long. And I found that when I added to the practice of just this little coloring, especially when I was feeling kind of anxious or hurried or frazzled, it really helped soothe me in a way. And that to me is soul care. And one of the things I started doing when I would sit down and color is I would make myself a cup of hot tea. And my favorite tea is called Love, and it's by this brand Puka. And I bought it really because the title of it says that it's a heartwarming touch of organic rose, chamomile, and lavender. And it just sounded so soothing and sweet. And so what I will do, again, is just make myself a cup of tea and I'll settle in and I'll color, even just for a few minutes in between the things that I have to get done. And it just sort of helps me to set the tone and to get back into my body, into a place where I'm more at peace, and just a spaciousness overall is the general feeling. So I want you guys to consider some way throughout the course of your day to offer yourself some soul care. What would that look like? Would it be sitting outside and just listening to the birds for a few minutes? Would it be a hot bubble bath? What would it be that just is gentle, loving, and intentional? All the best. I'll be thinking about you all. Take care.